Hey guys, welcome to another day with Zimaleta. I kind of wanted to start off my video with this. I was planning a little bit different series. I already recorded a bunch of different videos. They're going to be uploaded maybe like daily this week. But basically, I've been doing a lengthy discussion with one of the Mercedes technicians. By the way, thanks for watching my channel, and he's been trying to school me on fuel injectors, you know, stuff like that. He he thinks I'm an amateur, but it's okay. No hard feelings. But basically, we've been discussing this very copper washer that is used for fuel injectors, and obviously I think he's like from UK or something, and or United Kingdom, you know, something like that. But yeah, which is the same thing. He says that their copper washers for fuel injectors are flat, and the ones that I'm talking about, I'm getting aftermarket. And I told him, I said, no, I actually get my fuel injectors, and this is a bolt that holds down the fuel injectors. You could see it's got original yellow type of it's like it's a Loctite, yellow Loctite that Mercedes uses, and this is original from Mercedes, original copper washer. As you could see, guys, in the video, it might be kind of hard to tell because this is a front lens, but it's not quite round. You could see it's got like these little edges here. They're kind of like slightly coming out, but I'll actually take a picture of this and you know, post it with this video, what it looks like. It's kind of, it almost looks like a clover leaf inside, kind of like the way it's the little cutaways, which is kind of like not important. All it's designed for is once you actually put that on an injector, those little things, they're actually holding the injector, and that's not what the discussion is about. The discussion is about this copper washer here. It's got a slight curve to it. It's probably very hard to tell, but obviously it's not like, and this lens, I guess it's a weird type of a lens here on an iPhone camera. You could kind of see it's curving this way, okay? Very slight curve. So what happens is the flat portion needs to actually go up against a fuel injector. It needs to create a perfect seal. And the rounded portion, which is like this round, it actually needs to go inside of the, you know, inside of the head and create a proper seal. There's obviously like a hole there, and the injector kind of goes in, and there's like these walls, and a seal will sit in the middle, which I know that's kind of difficult to understand there, but some of you guys get what I'm talking about. And when a copper washer will sit like this, it covers up the hole perfectly, and it seats perfectly along the fuel injector, causing a perfect seal. And if you happen to flip it around, what's going to happen is when you flip it around, it's going to be flipped around like this. It's going to seal around the head, but it's not going to seal around the fuel injector. So when like all the smoke and, you know, everything, you know, like with the diesel kind of like being burnt, or like grime and stuff, it's going to start escaping, you know, through like where the fuel injector sits, because it's not quite sitting perfectly on that little thing. You know, there's holes, so it escapes through these little holes. That's kind of like designed like a clover leaf, kind of, because there's like these little cutaways. So there's place for the exhaust to escape, and then they're gonna go like this, and they're gonna escape through the sides of the fuel injector because it's not seating properly. So I know it's kind of getting dark, but there's enough light out. I'm actually gonna stick this a little bit closer to the van to create a kind of like a nicer type of a background. Let me grab one of the fuel injectors, and I'm gonna actually show you. They're not really clean because I actually have NTC's lubricant on them, but I'm gonna actually put on a copper washer one way and another way, and actually I could actually show you the difference that it does to the fuel injector. One, I'm gonna seal it up perfectly. Another one, it just doesn't. Why do I have this bolt here, guys? When you're working on fuel injectors, once you actually pull it out, always for a new injector, you got to use a new bolt. You're gonna need to use a new copper washer, which is called a seal for Mercedes. Because if you don't, these bolts, the way that they're designed is they're designed to stretch like one time. So once you torque them down, they they stretch just a little bit, and that's it, and they basically hold the injector down. So next time you're going to try to do that and torque it down, it's not going to properly be torqued, and it's actually going to rip the bolt. I've seen these things break inside, and you know, you could drill into it. It's not like high-speed steel, but excuse me. Guys, I'm in luck. I have commercial lighting, and my lights just actually came on the outside. Obviously, it's dark enough. So here's the fuel injector. You might be thinking it's a really old fuel injector, but it's really not. It's one of my injectors that I know it's good. I bought a brand new one from Mercedes, and I put special grease on it, which I call it special. It's really anti-seize type of lubricant. Same stuff you use on spark plugs. It's got like a nickel type of coating. It's a high temperature grease. It keeps the fuel injector from oxidizing inside of the head and getting stuck. I'm gonna get back to that because obviously we had a discussion on that as well. But here is the copper washer. So let me try to put it on the right way. Look at this, guys. I put it on the right way. And as you could see, those little holes, they're kind of visible. You see like those little black ones? I was referring to them as kind of clover leaf type of holes. Well, exhaust will escape through those holes because the fuel injector kind of goes inside like that, and it sits inside of the cylinder like through the little hole like this, and it creates a seal. And if you put the washer the wrong way, the fumes will start escaping through, and it's actually going to be kind of like this tar looking stuff once it's escaping. So let me pull out the copper washer and put it on another way. Look at this, guys. This is all the way installed. I know, like you could clearly see there's a gap. Look at the gap. I mean, it is pretty serious. And just so you don't think I'm trying to fool you here and created that gap, I'm actually pressing down on it as much as I can. Even on a video, you could still see, even though the camera is really not zooming in that good, there's a huge gap. And look, this is it plainly sitting. I mean, I could actually see underneath that little gap. The camera might not be catching that, but you could kind of see against the white here. You could see it's not seating properly. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. When somebody installs one of these copper washers the wrong way, look, I just installed it. Look how much better like it sits in there. There's actually no gap. There's absolutely no gap. I mean, it just sits there really nicely. And look at the difference again. Pull it out, put it on. Look, once I actually put it on, look at that gap. And right now, I just stuck it on there. It's actually looks like it's on all the way. I cannot actually press it in anymore. And you could clearly see there's a gap. And you could actually see, I'm actually pressing down on it more. You could actually see like it's kind of slightly curved up. And the discussion that I had with this Mercedes technician from the actual Mercedes is he was trying to tell me there is no wrong way to install a fuel injector. And I know he's a really smart guy and he knows what he's talking about. He's basically by the book. See, they teach these guys, the technicians, what to do. And yeah, sorry, I'm kind of getting distracted with all these trucks here because I actually have trucks, tractor trailers and stuff pass through here. So he was trying to tell me there's no wrong way to install this copper washer, and I'm telling him yes there is, and he's like, no, they're flat. And I'm like, no, they're slightly curved. If you don't install them the right way, you're gonna get a gap. And actually, you could see as I'm churning it, there's actually a gap. So I guess that I should have done that to begin with, to really show you. Like, by me pressing it with my finger actually creates a gap instead of like really sealing. And let me try to do the same thing, pressing it on one side. It doesn't really do that. So I'm pressing it like on each side. Well, it will slightly kind of like pick it up a little bit, but not enough to make a difference, because when this injector is going to be installed, it needs to be sealed properly for it to be installed. And as you can see, kind of like it's not falling out because of the design. So basically what the technician has claimed, he says, well, in, you know, at our dealer, you know, where he works, you know, they have flat washers. So he's obviously really familiar with his work environment, so they probably do have flat washers. So he's probably never seen one of these, except he did, but not at the, sorry about that, not at the Mercedes dealer. He says he's seen some aftermarket ones, he named some brands and whatnot, and that kind of thing. And he said they even use some Honda injector seals, which is kind of interesting. Use a Honda injector seals in Mercedes, that they're resorting to that to try to solve the issue with Black Death. I don't know why it's increased amount of traffic at this late hour, because there shouldn't be no traffic here right now. But guys, yeah, like that's really concerning to me when mechanics, like usually it's surprising that the Mercedes one would not know it, but usually just regular shops, they don't understand that you cannot install this any other way except like this. You cannot install it like that. I mean, you can clearly see it. Just put it on there, it creates a gap, because it's gonna start leaking. And I have talked over the past 10 years, I have basically I had discussions, maybe arguments with other mechanics. They're telling me they're flat. You could install them either way. It doesn't make any difference. And each conversation, I didn't have nothing to show them. So it was my word against their professional word and education. And the problem sometimes happens is, you know, these good mechanics, technicians, they get trained a certain way, and, you know, they believe it, of course. And then they stick to their guns because they're like, that's the way they were taught. If Mercedes taught them like that, well, why should they think any different? See, guys, I taught myself how to work on a Sprinter, and some of the stuff I taught myself was from Mercedes manuals, because they are available online on Sprinter forums and stuff, and there's everything, anything from parts to mechanical stuff to the whole breakdown of the engine. This is how I know a lot of my stuff. I like to learn it from the source. I'm not some just backyard mechanic that, oh, you gotta do it like this and like that. You know, I'm not like one of those guys, and I'm not trying to be. It might seem sometimes that way, but I'm really not. And it's because I don't have this professional approach to these mechanics. I'm not really naming all these really fancy names, you know, that mechanics like to throw around. I just like to be me with you guys, because I am not a mechanic. I'm not about to start learning mechanical terminology to sound cool to you guys. I don't care about sounding cool and sound appropriate. I just want to basically, you know, get the information out to you guys so you know what to do with it. So if you're gonna do the work yourself, great, now you know the proper way of doing it. If you don't know how to do work yourself, well, you know, now you've learned. And if you've been misinformed, well, now you're gonna be a little bit better informed. And maybe if you're that mechanic, or maybe some other mechanics that's watching me, maybe you're gonna say, wait a minute, was he playing tricks on me? Or maybe taking a fuel injector and take this copper washer, slide it on, and says, oh dang, there is a gap in there right now. I mean, look at it. There's a gap. It's hard to tell on the camera, but there's a gap, like for real. And put it on like that, no gap. And imagine there's no gap right now. Obviously, it's curved like this in this position. You stick this in a cylinder, it's going to seal properly and prevent Black Death from happening. Because the biggest thing, guys, with these Sprinters, did you know that according to the information online, to the statistics, 80% of Sprinters have Black Death. So basically, it's a fuel injector that leaks because it passes through the seal, really gunks things up, and sometimes it's a huge mess, and you know, the cleanup is horrendous. Now, one other thing I do want to point out, this is what the discussion was about, and this is another big one. Because when I get the Sprinters, because I buy it for myself, I fix them, and I do whatever I want with them, you know, once I'm done. And that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years. I've been basically buying them, fix them up, selling them, that kind of thing. And even like with the silver one that I just fixed, it's a really great Sprinter. I could sell it, but the thing is, I cannot sell it for what I want for it, pretty much, because I'm going to ask for more than it's worth. But not exactly, because the condition that it's in, it's worth to me more, you know, in that condition. So it's almost kind of like makes better sense for me to put a driver on it than that. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. But anyways, guys, getting back to this fuel injector, you see this, how it's got the silver type of tint to it. Right on this body, you're supposed to use special grease. And Mercedes, they sell that special grease. It's a high temperature type of grease. It's very expensive. A little bottle like that, guys. Very small bottle. Well, like the hole I'm making there. It costs $35. And they call it special grease. And it's about that tall. So it's probably enough if you're going to really slim it down and just try to really work with it. It's probably enough for 5 injectors. And that's it. You're going to be out of 35 bucks. So to me, it does not make financial sense to get that stuff, but it's a high temperature grease. If you put it on there, it stays in there long enough to prevent the oxidation from happening, because technically, some of you guys might be thinking, well, why should you need grease? Yeah, no, like this guy was telling me, Mercedes technician, he said to me that he hasn't seen fuel injectors oxidize, which is surprising. Maybe he hasn't worked on some models that's been around for 700,000 miles and he hasn't seen oxidation happen. Usually sees black death, which is obvious because of the washers are being installed the wrong way. These seals, they're not seating proper. This is why 80% failures happen, because of the wrong training. I'm kind of thinking that training is probably on purpose that way, because it's when you torque it down properly, chances are 50-50 it's going to work. And then it's going to fail. Some of these sprinters, they fail at 80,000 miles. I know I'm throwing a lot of 80s out there, but I'm telling you, I did my research that some people have this issue at 80,000 miles, which they shouldn't be having. You know, and some of them, they do okay. So it depends, I guess, on where you go. But believe it or not, guys, I actually learned this from a Mercedes technician. You know, when I was getting ready to do my fuel injector job, but the first time, he told me, like, it was, I guess, he was a Mercedes guy. He told me that they need to go on a certain way and that kind of thing. And, you know, so I learned like that. So I guess I got lucky. So, but also, I haven't seen really that information out there online. So, like, nobody's really pointing this out except me. Of course, after that, I started really, you know, looking at it. But, yeah, getting back to the special grease, guys, you could get a regular type of anti-seize type of lubricant, put it on a fuel injector. It's not going to cost you much money because that stuff is cheap, maybe $3 to $5 for a thing of it like this. You know, it's pretty big. It's got a brush on it. Just brush it on this part of the fuel injector. You're not going to hurt anything because you just put it in the body, and even if it did not oxidize, you just prevented a mess from happening. I mean, you'll be able to simply put it in and pull it out the next time, because there's really nothing to prevent it from sliding out of the cylinder. The guy that I was speaking to, the Mercedes technician, he says that they don't oxidize, but actually they do, because the fuel injector is actually made out of steel and the head is aluminum. And just the science of things, once you actually, you know, have aluminum to be in contact with steel, oxidation will happen. These two metals cannot be that close to each other. This is why sprinters, they have a problem with injectors being stuck and glow plugs being stuck. And that's just what happens, you know. And if you just apply some high temperature type of grease to them from Mercedes, that ought to work. But anti-seize lubricant works fine for me. I mean, they sell that stuff as spark plugs. Why do you think they sell it for spark plugs? Because some modern type of heads these days, they have they're aluminum, and the spark plugs, they're steel. It's to happen, you know, to keep the metal from oxidizing and getting stuck on there, you know. And basically, here's what the technician told me. He says they use Vaseline on all fuel injectors. So here's my question. Why would you want to even use Vaseline? You could just, the fuel injector is going to go fine by itself. There's actually a gap. There's about about 1/8 in American measurements, a gap in between where the fuel injector goes and the wall. So technically, there's kind of like there's room for movement. So the metal's really not touching. So why would you even need Vaseline? What is that doing for you? You know, obviously it's not going to do anything. It's Vaseline. Like, I mean, come on. You don't really need a lubricator to put it in there. You know, it's That's crazy, you know. Why would you want to do that? The only reason you want to use high temperature grease is to actually have the grease on there and for it to stay on there and not to go anywhere, because next time you're going to service the fuel injector for whatever reason, you're going to be able to pull it out, you know. And that's why I wanted to explain this to you guys and get it out there, because you know, I don't want like somebody to put it in the wrong way and then they try to go down the road, they got a leaky injector, now you're gonna go pull it out and you don't use grease, well, you're gonna have a stock fuel injector. And here's another thing I want to point out, that see, that guy, he thinks I'm an amateur, that I don't know these things. So he started claiming to me that in one of my videos where I was showing how to remove a fuel injector, I guess you haven't seen one of my first ones that I even posted before. I actually used the proper tool to pull out a stock fuel injector. I built it myself because I wasn't going to try to fork out 350 euros for one, plus they didn't have it in stock, you know, and I had to order it from Europe. So I built my own to pull it out. And you could see one of my videos like from a long time ago. It's just nothing but pictures, a little video. I did it with my iPhone. I guess nothing changed. This is filmed on my iPhone. And basically that situation was so bad with oxidation. It was not a leaky fuel injector. I just needed to pull it out because you know, I was changing the actual head cover because it was bad, and I needed to pull out all the fuel injectors so I could do that. And one of those fuel injectors stuck so bad, it was injector number 3. It was so difficult. But there is this little ring here. If you undo this little ring, okay, all these parts come out, okay. But I usually say in my videos, if you're gonna do that, well, then the injector's not gonna be good anymore. It's not gonna be working. I mean, technically that's not true, because you can have it, you know, put it back together properly, but you just have to calibrate it the right way. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So I don't know how to calibrate it the right way. So I don't know. I guess somebody that does, they're not going to be watching my video, you know, so that's really not important. So chances are, if you have to take this injector apart over here on top, you have a stock fuel injector and you're just looking for a better way to try to pull it out. Well, once you actually pull this part out, you actually undo it. Inside, there's going to be kind of like this Allen wrench type of a key type of thing. And once you put an Allen wrench, you pull it out. It's going to be sort of like a kind of like a washer looking thing that it's in there. And you pull it out. Now you'll have an area where you could work with it. You could put a bolt in there. You could spin it in there, and you could use some kind of tool to pull it out, you know, like a, basically if you buy like a fuel injector puller, sometimes like a hammer action, they already have that little bolt thing. It's already there. So technically you could you know, screw it inside and you pull it out. And if you pull it out, hey, you're lucky, and that's probably what mattered to you. You just wanted the fuel injector out. You don't care if it's going to be not a good injector. You just wanted to pull that fuel injector out. But if you will be taking it apart, there's these little metal type of balls in there. There's supposed to be 2 of them. Usually when I take it apart, I only see 1. You know, am I somehow not careful at taking it apart? I don't know, but the fuel injectors that I did take apart, they were actually messed with before. You know, I only taken apart some that's been, it happens in both instances, the ones I took apart, that mechanic tried to calibrate it themselves, and he probably lost some balls. You know, there's a very tiny little metal balls. And the reason I'm saying that is that there needs to be 2 of them, because I could see the area. There's 2 little places where they go. I could see where that is to properly space the little thing. I just don't see how 1 ball will do the trick. So, but anyways, I haven't done really extensive research how to really calibrate him, and I'm not about to. I really don't care about that. If there's a fuel injector problem, I like to do things properly, use a brand new copper washer, brand new fuel injector, and or a good used one. It just depends on kind of like what I'm doing. And brand new bolt, and of course I'll put a lubricant, and that's my steps at doing it. You know, I'm not going to be trying to be smart and recalibrate the fuel injector. I mean, not many of us will be able to do that. Even if I could tell you how to do this, chances are a lot of you guys will not be able to calibrate it the right way anyways. You know, so I'm not gonna try to, you know, go in there and do that. But anyways, guys, stay tuned for other videos. I got a video coming with me trying to get one of the vehicles that I bought started. It's got a starting issue, and I already recorded the whole series. You know, it's just gonna take time for me to edit the content and put it out there. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and God bless you. Take care, and no hard feelings, I hope, to you, Mr. Mechanic from UK, from Mercedes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking your time to watch my channel. It's nice that my channel is getting that kind of attention. And actually recently tried to search just for Mercedes stuff, and my videos are popping up. So obviously my content is out there. It just would have been nice if everybody that watches my channel, it would have really made me feel good if they subscribe and hit that like button. You know, it really makes a difference for somebody like me, because it will make my channel be more popular. It will give me more enthusiasm to make more better videos, better edited videos, because I'll tell you guys, because right now my channel is doing pretty well. It's doing extremely well, more than I thought it was gonna do. I have like a little bit over 32,000 views per month. Sometimes it's 35,000 views, and it's been pretty consistent. It's been like that every single month. If those people would have subscribed, because I have like about 90% of people that watch my channel, they're not even subscribed. So it would have been nice if you guys took your time to subscribe. At least it would let me know you guys are appreciating it, and I'm here to stay. You know, I like to talk about stuff kind of like some videos are going to be like kind of like be aware videos of some mechanics that's trying to rip you off. And I actually have a video like that I recorded. It's a really serious type of situation. It happens. And in that situation, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of it, because I don't want to call it out just yet. But the Sprinter that I bought has a missing transmission control module. A little spoiler alert. After doing so many diagnostics and trying to figure out what the heck is going on with it, I keep running into the same issue where it says lost communication with TCM. And at first it didn't really dawn on me, I mean, that it's a transmission module, because I'm just kind of thinking a lot of times, you know, those codes will throw something out because it's part of another problem and you just have to deal with it. So sometimes you just ignore. But I'm thinking, then the more that I deleted that code, the more it came back. I started realizing this is a bigger problem than what it really seems, and I got to start with that. So I took a look where the transmission module is located, and it was gone. It's like not even there. So I called the owner up that I bought the Sprinter from, and he says, man, he felt bad for me, and he wanted to make right with me because we're friends. You know, I helped him out before, and he says, let me send you one of mine that I have as a spare here, but he don't know what the heck is going on, because his driver was driving the Sprinter at the time that it broke. And is it the driver that took it, or is it the shop that stole it, that was ripped him off? Which I got a video coming on that after this one. So stay tuned for that, guys, and everything else. I probably have like 5 videos that I just made today. This is why it's really dark. But anyways, guys, God bless you. Take care. Thanks for watching, and thank you guys for my regular viewers, man. You guys are the best, man. I really appreciate it. And I've been noticing you guys been giving me the thumbs up. Thank you. You make me feel good about that. And hopefully you guys are doing okay. And good luck to you guys. Bye-bye. Yes. Bye-bye.